Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Basic. Happy Canada Day here on the Fired Up Network with the broadcasting legend Stormin Norm RUMACK. This is breaking news in the world of sports. I know Canada Day is tomorrow. Happy Canada Day to you, Norm. Also, Friday, if we don't do it, happy Independence Day, United States. Well, Norm, a lot of news in the National Hockey League, a lot of news in the NBA, little news in the National Football League, big news in wrestling. But we're going to start where everybody wants us to start. All right. With Mitch Marner, the story with Mitch Marner is finally over. He has signed and trade deal with the Maple Leafs and the Vegas Golden Knights. Mitch Marner has signed an 8-year, $96 million deal, and the Maple Leafs get Nick Waugh for Mitch Marner, 1-for-1. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm not all that familiar with Nick Waugh, so I'm not going to pretend like I am. As far as Mitch Marner, well, we all sensed he wanted out. Didn't want to re-sign with Toronto mid-season, or at least not a long extension. So I guess he's looking for a new beginning. The question is, will the Maple Leafs have enough points to make up? And, we have to wait to see who else they sign or who else they get from Vegas besides Nick Waugh. But they have to make up for the 100-plus points that he delivers during the regular season. So that'll be the big question in the long run, and what other free agents they're able to sign. So it's an interesting gamble, but if Marner doesn't want to be here, the Leafs have to do something about it. So at least they've done that. And we know Vegas has some pretty good players. The question is, who else are the Leafs getting back in terms of roster players, prospects, and draft picks, aside from, as you mentioned, Nick Waugh?
Well, it only looks like it's going to be Nick Waugh. Other Maple Leaf news today, they signed Steven Lorentz to a 3-year deal. Of course, he came from Florida. And the Maple Leafs did a deal with Utah for a 3rd-round pick. And if you don't know Nick Waugh, you're not going to know who they picked up from Utah there. But I got to say this. Free agent starts tomorrow at noon. Okay, July 1st is always free agency. But the winner free agency already. I'm going to declare the winner. Norm, listen to this. The reigning, defending, 2-time Stanley Cup champions. Listen, Norm, they signed Sam Bennett. Very good, right? They signed Brad Marchand, 6 years, $32 million. They signed Aaron Ekblad, another 8 years, $61 million deal. Barry Zito, GM of Florida, back-to-back champions, and they won they went to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row, back-to-back. Are they the favorite to win a 3rd straight Stanley Cup and go to the Stanley Cup 4 years in a row?
Yep, they're the favorite. I'm picking them right now.
Wow, they're they shouldn't have free agent day tomorrow, right? Nobody's what's left. Everybody who's a big name has signed on with their original team. By the way, I'm going to say this, okay? There's a lot of talk about no tax in Vegas and Florida and all that. All the big players already who are sort of free agents or, were going to be free agents tomorrow have signed on with their original team, which is Florida. Mitch Marner, another big-time fish, the biggest fish probably see for free agency, goes to Vegas. By the way, no tax. All the big players who are free agents go to cities with no tax. Is this a problem now, especially for a Canadian team, Norm?
Well, I don't know. It's a problem. I mean, it helps if you're winning Stanley Cups. That makes the biggest difference. Just like players didn't want to used to go to Winnipeg. Well, Winnipeg is now a good club, so it's not as hard to keep players. Toronto is a good regular season team, but they haven't been a very good playoff team. So, and Toronto's a high-pressure market, very high-pressure market. You got to be able to handle that when the club has their struggles. We saw the fans protesting by throwing those expensive $300 or $500 shirts on the ice during the playoffs, those two home games where the Leafs got blown out against Florida. So you got to be able to handle that. And looks like I kind of wonder if that was part of the motivation for Mitch Marner to get out of Toronto, that he was maybe tired of being in a high pressurized market, whereas in a place like Las Vegas, you can probably just blend into the background there. You know, fans recognize you, but there's so many other sports and events going on in Las Vegas that, it's not the be all and the end all. It's a night of entertainment. So in Toronto, it's not quite like that. Leaf fans linger on their long drought of no Stanley Cup wins since 1967. So it's a tough market when things aren't going well. It's a great market when things are going well, but you got to be able to take both. And it's not for everybody. So I don't know, it's so much the taxes. I hear media people, some colleagues talking about how, you can get ads, advertisements, and commercial endorsements. Yeah, but that's nice. But they're already making a ton of money. I don't think the money is that big a deal. I think it's the environment. And, maybe on the basketball side, it is the tax that's imposed on the players. But on the hockey front, I don't really think that's the biggest story. I really don't. I think the guys like being in hot climates where they can go golfing. All the hockey players love to golf, or almost all of them love to golf. And like I say, Toronto's a high pressure market. And if you're not winning with the Maple Leafs, things can get tough. So not every player wants to deal with that.
Right. So as we talk about Mitch Marner, we're going to take other topics, but Mitch Marner here, a Toronto boy, Richmond Hill boy, and all that, and a lot of pressure, like you said, on the core four, Nylander, Tavares, Marner, Matthews. By the way, Tavares signing a team-friendly deal, 4 years, basically 4.32 million there, and they signed Matthew Knies to a 6-year deal, 7.75 million on average. So the GM Brad Living is doing some work for the league. But give me your thoughts. I don't know, memories, but thoughts on Mitch Marner, because this year he finally broke 100 points and he got traded. All right, Mitch Marner, arguably, I would say right now, maybe top 20 all-time Maple Leaf.
Well,
maybe top 50
it
for sure.
depends
Top
on what
50.
you rank as a top 20. By the way, I don't hear you that well. You can
Top
crank up your
50,
volume a
probably
little bit.
top 50.
Well, top whatever. I judge players on what they do in the playoffs in terms of all-time great Maple Leafs. And Mitch Marner's not had great playoffs. He's had great regular seasons.
Yes.
So there's two separate conversations there. He's been a great regular season Maple Leaf, that's for sure. But not a great, what you would call a great playoff performer for the Maple Leafs. And, the big time players, their top players, which, to be fair, would include the likes of Austin Matthews and John Tavares and Nylander. You have to judge them on their playoffs. That's how we judge all athletes. What do they do in the postseason if they're in the postseason? And for the Maple Leafs, there's not a whole lot to show, is there? They made
All right,
one
hold on,
second round.
hold on.
Florida chased them.
We have some breaking news in the NBA world. I have to report this. This is right now. It looks like they are closing in on a deal, and this is huge. All right, Boston Celtics receive from Cleveland Darius Garland. Cleveland receives Derek White, Sam Houston, Jordan Walsh, and a 2032 second round pick. As you know, Boston, lost Tatum there and all that. So they pick up their sort of point guard, Darius Garland from Cleveland. We'll talk about the NBA in just a few minutes, but I have to say that is a breaking news. Huge deal in the NBA, as free agency in the NBA started today, 6 p.m. But that is big deal in the National Basketball Association. Thank you to Shams from ESPN for breaking that down. But again, That's a big deal there. Sorry to interrupt, Norm, but go ahead with your thoughts. And here it is. And here's another one. Sorry about this. It looks like free agent guard Titus Jones has agreed to a 1 year, $7 million deal with the Orlando Magic from Phoenix. So and Nikhil Alexander Walker uh, uh, is Atlanta sending him to Minnesota. So some big names move, but we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. But let's get back to Mitch Marner there. And do you think overall, Mitch Marner, whatever, second, third best player on the Maple Leafs for years and all that, can they right now, barring a major free agent pickup? I don't know who's out there, Nikolai Ehlers. Maybe they get Patrick Kane. Maybe can they make up if they get 2 or 3 guys the 100 points that they're going to lose?
Well, it obviously depends which guys. You can get 5 or 10 guys, they may not make up 100 points.
That's
so
right.
I can't answer your question until we know who they get. It's not a reasonable even. It's ridiculous to even guess. I don't know if they can make up the 100 points. Ask me in 2 or 3 weeks when they've signed whoever they're going to sign, if they sign.
Know who they get. Yeah. Well, all right. So I'll ask you about that. But as I don't know if you're a Maple Leaf fan or not, but if you're a Maple Leaf fan, are you saddened? Are you okay? It's about time they move sort of. They said we got to move the major core. Well, they signed John Tavares. He was part of the core. Okay, Matthews, part of the core. Nylander, part of the core. They're all Matthew Nyes, now new part of the core, and they finally move on from Marner. Is this enough?
I don't know. You'd have to survey Leaf fans, Joe. I don't get all hung up about what they do or don't do in the playoffs. They haven't done much. But I don't get all bent out of shape. And is it enough? Well, you'll know next year. There's the answer to your question. The intelligent answer to your question is you'll know next year in the springtime if is it enough, depending on who they get back and who else they move. But to guess now, there's no answer to that question.
All right. Okay. So
that's the right answer. There is no answer right now because it's not the right time to be able to give that answer.
Of course, it's not the right time. But let's look at some other teams doing business early. Again, free agent season starts tomorrow noon. But Bouchard from Edmonton signing a major deal with the Edmonton Oilers there, over $10.4 million a year. $10.4 million a year for Bouchard. Is that a little bit pricey going to Edmonton?
Well, he's got a heck of a shot, that's for sure.
All right. And if Edmonton still did not pick up a goalie, so it's interesting to see if they will, make a trade. There are rumors that they may go with Slayman and everything like that, but you never know. You never know in the National Hockey League. It's funny during this time of year, like last year, you don't know that Mitch Marner will be traded to Vegas, and again, if you're a Maple Leaf fan, and it's Mitch Marner did not want to continue on with the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs had a trade with Dallas, a trade with Carolina worked out. He did not want to waive his no trade clause and everything like that. Are you upset at Mitch Marner for not allowing that to happen earlier?
Am I upset personally? Yeah. No, I don't care.
If you're a Maple Leaf fan.
Well, only a Maple Leaf fan would know. A hardcore Maple Leaf fan. Personally, did I grow up as a Leafs fan? Yeah. But do I care about a player who doesn't want to go? He didn't want to go to, you're talking about Marner, didn't want to go to Carolina or, re-up his contract mid-season. We're not seeing anything that's surprising here. I guess he had a few, apparently the Leafs did have some discussions with Las Vegas during the regular season, but they couldn't come to an agreement. So I don't know if Leaf fans are upset with him. It's like, they got to be pleased with, like I say, he's a great regular season performer, but he hasn't been a great playoff performer. And whether Leaf fans are upset, the question is, they'll be happy if they get enough points to replace what Marner provides in the regular season. You got to make the playoffs first before you talk about the playoffs. So the Leafs have done a good job of making the playoffs, but in the playoffs, there's always a different reason. And the only thing that changes is the opponents who they're playing, and there's always a different reason why they come up short. And it's got that great expression from Mike Pinball Clemens, the Argonauts GM and former great player. And he says, excuses are like belly buttons. None of them are any good. And there's a lot of truth in that.
And by the way, you only have one belly button, all right? And just in case you're wondering, because I know, Norm, you're looking down to see how many belly buttons you have and all that. So there you go. Okay. By the way, some breaking news in the NFL world, and this is really a blockbuster. Okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins did a blockbuster there. The long-awaited Jalen Ramsey move has come down, and it came down. The Steelers receive Jalen Ramsey, Juju Smith, and a 2027 seventh-round pick. For the Dolphins receive a fifth-round pick, 2027, and Mika Fitzpatrick. Norm, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Joe, I only heard about the Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't hear about the players, or I can't hear.
Okay, Jalen Ramsey.
I'm not going to give you an answer on something I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Who?
Jalen Ramsey goes
I heard Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey goes from Miami to Pittsburgh, and Juju Smith, the tight end, goes from Miami to Pittsburgh, and a 2027 seven-round pick. The Dolphins receive a fifth-round pick and Mika Fitzpatrick.
I don't know. The bigger question to me about the Pittsburgh Steelers is Aaron Rodgers. That'll determine where it's a quarterback-driven league. It's not, one tight end, one receiver, one defensive back. It's a quarterback-driven league. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers does in Pittsburgh. I want to know what the Steelers are going to do. And I'm pretty confident that'll be the right answer to what the Steelers do or don't do.
All right, so I'm going to switch it to the NBA. We got a couple minutes here. Hopefully you could hear me. I'm going to pull the microphone a little bit closer. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you haven't told us what you think about that trade, Joe.
Well, Mika Fitzpatrick has been a thorn in the Buffalo Bills side, so it's great for the Buffalo Bills to lose, not play him twice a year. Pittsburgh Steelers, he's going to play with Pittsburgh, so it's actually the Bills, I think, play Pittsburgh this year, okay? But losing Mika Fitzpatrick, if you're a Bills fan, great that you don't see him twice a year. That's number one, okay? Great that you don't see him. And Josh Allen has a little bit more leeway to throw the ball downfield because safety's not there to get that. But Jalen Ramsey going to, Pittsburgh there. Jalen Ramsey arguably was one of the better cornerbacks for years. So, again, that can be a big, big thing for Pittsburgh. They're making, like you said, with Aaron Rodgers, they're making moves there. And Juju Smith is pretty good tight end, put it that way. Pretty good tight end in Pittsburgh offense with Aaron Rodgers there. Pittsburgh could be having something, and, they have a big tradition there. And if Aaron Rodgers plays like he can, not for the last couple years, but play like he can, watch out for Pittsburgh in that division, because I don't have to tell you, Cleveland, okay, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore, always mucky games, always one of those guys are Super Bowl contenders. So watch out for Pittsburgh this year. Miami, I don't know. And the big question is, again, Tua and everything, quarterback, like you said, it's a quarterback-driven league. But, Norm, I don't know if you know this. Okay? This is very important. There's only one team in the AFC that everybody in Canada, since it's Canada Day, right? Since it's Canada. By the way, you like this, Norm, eh? Look, you could have wore a red tank top, okay? You could have wore it, but no, you don't like that, all right? But there's one team, and it's the Buffalo Bills, all right? It's the Buffalo Bills. Everybody cares about the Buffalo Bills. Nobody cares about Miami Dolphins or America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Do you care about the Dallas Cowboys, Norm?
Do I care?
Yeah.
No, I watch the NFL, but I don't have a particular favorite team.
Yeah, your team. You know who's your team? It's my team. You're the president of Provinces Canada, Buffalo Bills. You're a Buffalo Bills fan. By the way, this year I'm going
Right.
to take you to, or next year I'll take you to the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. All you need to do is pay for gas for me, pay for the chicken wings, pay for the beer, and we'll be going to the game. All right. Now let's close this out with NBA news. I told you there's a lot of news. The Denver Nuggets are trading Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. That's a huge, huge deal. Cam Johnson, best player in Brooklyn. Now, free agent guard Ty Jerome has agreed to a 3-year, $28 million deal with Memphis. So that's not a bad deal also. And some big news here. Kevin Porter Jr. from Milwaukee has agreed to a 2-year, $11 million deal to return to the Bucks. Here's Bruce Brown has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Denver Nuggets as well. As you know, he played for Denver there also. Kevin Looney has agreed to a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. But Norm, I want your thoughts here because this is not bad names here, but a free agent guard, D'Angelo Russell, has agreed to a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Any thoughts on those signings?
No, I'll give you, because I don't get to watch that much NBA, Joe, because I have a full-time job. Some of your listeners don't know that. So I have a full-time job, so I get to watch the NBA a little bit, and it's just a little bit. Okay, so let's get that straight first. So in terms of the you mentioned Cleveland and Boston doing a big trade. Well, Garland's a heck of a guard, and obviously without Tatum, Boston needs some help. And White was a solid contributor to the Celtics, so it could be a win-win deal in terms of that one. I get to see a lot more of those teams, especially in the playoffs. But the other teams you mentioned, Orlando, Denver, I get to see them once in a while, but not often enough that I'm going to give you an intelligent comment.
All right, so hold on. I'm going to give me an
signings, because it's just not, I'm not going to claim I know something when I don't.
All right, give me an intelligent comment here as well. The big breaking news over the last week was Houston trading for Kevin Durant. Now, Houston, big question is they re-signed Fred VanVleet, point guard. They got Kevin Durant. They needed a center. Well, they just signed center Clint Capella to a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. So they got a center, they got Durant, they got a point guard. Is Houston now sort of penciled in as number 1 or 2 in the West behind the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Yeah, well, Houston had a pretty good regular season to begin with, right? So I'm sure they'll be up there. And we'll see what happens. I don't think they're good enough to catch Oklahoma City. But it should be a pretty good year for Houston. They stay healthy.
All right, Chris LeVert signing agreed to a 2-year, $29 million deal with Detroit. Remember, Detroit made the playoffs, and they're going to be better this year. And some news for Raptor fans also. Brook Lopez, free agent center Brook Lopez, has signed a 2-year, $18 million deal with Clipper Nation, the Los Angeles Clippers there. So interesting to see what happens in the NBA. I know we just come off the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the championship, and a lot of moving parts in the NBA. Luke Conrad has agreed to a 1-year, $11 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks there also. And there are rumors going around that Atlanta may trade their point guard to the Toronto Raptors. All right. So lots of news to get to. And tomorrow being free agent day, being Canada Day, and everything like that. If there's any other big breaking news, I'll be having it here on the Fired Up Network. And Norm, by the way, we were emceeing a golf tournament. All right. We had an interview lined up.
No, we weren't.
Oh, wait. We had an interview.
I wasn't at any golf tournament today. on the
That's why
record.
I was going to tell them. Hold on, relax, Norm, relax. Okay, we have an interview coming up tomorrow or Wednesday with the long-range bomber Tracy Murray, talking about Masai Ujiri, talking about the NBA, and Norm joins us in the last 5 minutes there and everything like that. So check out either tomorrow or Wednesday here on the Fired Up Network, because nobody brings you this quality over an hour. We stayed about an hour with Tracy Murray, and Norm was on there for about 7 minutes at the end, asking a very pertinent question about Masai Ujiri and everything like that. So stay tuned, even though it's Canada Day and it's a national holiday, and I want everybody to be safe and sound for Canada Day. Don't drink too much, go and party and everything like that. But on either tomorrow night or Wednesday night, the latest, we'll be having that interview with Tracy Murray. And Tracy's one of the best people in the world, sports or no sports. You want to mention anything about? And by the way, I gotta say this. I'm gonna do a little bit of a spoiler, Norm. If check it out, because you'll never ever have heard Norm RUMACK sing happy birthday to somebody like he did for the Tracy Murray interview. Right, Norm?
Probably not.
Yeah. All right. So, Norm, you get the last here. It's Canada Day. Well, a couple of hours away. Do you want to say anything to your millions and millions, maybe three, of fans here? Happy Canada Day. Oh, Canada, Norm. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to sing, but happy Canada Day, and hope you celebrate and remember our great country. Well, I'm sure you'll remember our great country, but think of it as it's not perfect, but no nation is, but pretty darn good, that's for sure. So take pride in being Canadian, and yeah, enjoy and sing the anthem proudly.
And we just have a question here. Anything big happened on Raw? The Raw tonight started at 6 p.m. They announced a couple of Evolution matches, or the big matches: Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the ladies' title, and on Friday, Norm, I'll spoil it. Okay, it's not a spoiler; it is a prediction. And when I come to wrestling, my predictions are like 112th. Trish Stratus will be appearing on SmackDown, and Trish Stratus will be announcing that she will take part in Evolution on July 13th. All right. Norm and Trish go way back, right, Norm? Way back. But that's it. Happy day to everybody out there. Again, the big news: Mitch Marner signing with the Vegas Golden Knights and then traded to the Golden Knights. 8 years, $96 million. Sort of act like I give Norm RUMACK. And stay tuned to either tomorrow or Wednesday for an exclusive interview with Tracy Murray. Any last comments, Norm?
No, but yeah, it's always great to listen to Tracy Murray. Not only a pretty good basketball player, twice with the Raptors, but he's an even better person. So I think you'll enjoy listening to Tracy Murray and Joe. And like I say, as Joe said, I was in for a few minutes at the end there. Of course, talking about Masai Ujiri and the Raptors and everything else that's been going on lately in the NBA, and including the championship for Oklahoma City. So lots of interesting discussion with the, as we call him, the long-range bomber, former Raptor guard Tracy Murray out of UCLA.
All right. And first, here on the Fired Up Network, being a national holiday or not, we break the news here. So if there's any big news tomorrow or the next day regarding NHL free agency, NBA free agency, we'll have it here on the Fired Up Network. Thanks for watching. And Norm, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, social wise.
Yeah, you can find me here on the Fired Up Network, usually twice a week on Monday, sometimes Thursday. So check it out. We cover all the sports, breaking news, and we're pretty straightforward with you. We give you our best assessment of what we know, and we honestly tell you what we don't know.
Well, Norm doesn't know a lot, but I know everything. I'm in the provinces of Canada,
Yeah.
and because of that, Norm, I elect you to be the Anne Marie of Fired Up Network. Sing us home for old Canada. Give me one line, just one line.
All right. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
That's Norm